Well, thanks to our last panel, one of the things we learned when we did our first cybersecurity event almost 3 years ago is that the topic is omnipresent, it's ubiquitous, it involves every player, whether they know it or not. Just from a government perspective, federal, state, and local, the private sector, individuals, consumers, it's amazing how big the topic is. So we have tried in our recent events for the business community to talk about critical state infrastructure. And we're here, Florida is blessed with 15 ports, 4 or 5 really major ports, and more than any other state. You know, Floridians have access to a fantastic port network. You go to Georgia, they have a fantastic or a big port, but they have one port basically, or 1.5. I mean, Brunswick is part of the Port of Savannah. So other states have a focused set of policies for how they support their port system. Where in Florida, we have 15 ports that all have different functions, specialties, expertises. We have service from throughout the planet through our ports, but we care deeply about ports and port security. And so we thought we would invite some of the leaders from the cyber team at the Coast Guard to talk to us a little bit about their perspectives of how you interact with the business community, with the ports, how you try to support prophylactically protecting critical state infrastructure and supply chains, and then also what the business community can be doing to help support you. So I'm going to introduce and then let the team take over. Lieutenant Commander Jason Schomburg is serving as the Cyber Protection Team Program Manager within the Coast Guard Office of Cyberspace Forces. He's tasked with facilitating the needs of the Cyber Protection Team and outreach to the Coast Guard's Marine Transportation System partners. So we're really thrilled to have Jason here with us today. Lieutenant Rousseau, hope I'm pronouncing that close, is currently serving as the operations officer for the U.S. Coast Guard's Cyber Protection Team. She's tasked with conducting operations to defend critical state infrastructure, which has been the topic of every one of our events over the last 3 years. And the response to the maritime transportation sector. She has a master's degree of information assurance from National University and a doctorate of science in cybersecurity from Capital Technical University. And then we've got Lieutenant Commander Dubois. Is that close? Okay. Yeah, he's the Maritime Cyber Readiness Branch Chief for the Coast Guard Cyber Command. He deals with all things maritime transportation systems related to cyber. And we thought it'd be great to have your perspectives in terms of what Florida ought to be doing, what our ports ought to be doing, and how the Coast Guard can interact and support the interests of the business community and Florida ecosystem in general in terms of cybersecurity.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having us. We're glad to be here, and the outreach for the Coast Guard is of a top priority for us. Right now, we're trying to build out our cybersecurity programs and move the federal government forward with protection of critical infrastructure, especially within the marine transportation system. I'll go into kind of the federal government level and why we're here overall, and what kind of led to where we're at within the Coast Guard cyber mission itself. And then I'll hand it down the row here to my experts that are actually more attuned to the field level and what actually happens when they interact with businesses within ports and facilities within ports and that type of thing. So the Department of Homeland Security made the Coast Guard a sector risk management agency of the marine transportation system. As we all know, Florida is completely surrounded by the marine transportation system, so that makes you guys a giant partner of ours when it comes to our ability to help you It's really what we're trying to get to is more of a interaction between the state, the local ports, the local facilities, and the federal government as far as protecting that critical infrastructure that's so vital to the success of the economy of the United States and what keeps us afloat. So because of that, we developed our U.S. or our CG Cyber Command itself, and within the CG Cyber Command, we have cyber protection teams. Those cyber protection teams are built to go out and assess, harden, clear, and what's the other one? I'm missing it. Assess, hunt, clear, and harden within the networks of the ports that they're actually visiting. This is a service that is given free of cost to our port partners. It's something that they do in order to basically shine a light on the gaps that those critical infrastructure networks have. They give advice. They give a report to the actual port partners themselves that let them know exactly what they can do to shore up their systems and steps they can take to harden their networks to ensure that a cyber attack either doesn't happen or it can be mitigated as soon as it does happen. So that's really why we're here. We want to offer our services. We want to make sure that the port partners that are here have the ability to connect with us and reach out and ask for support. We're not only supporting you, but we're supporting our captains of the port that run the sectors for the Coast Guard within Florida itself. So they will actually work with you as well and reach back to the Coast Guard Cyber Command to ensure that we're there and we're working with you through the captain of the port and protecting that critical infrastructure within Florida. Quentin, do you want to take that over?
Yeah, sure. Just really happy to be here. It's always good to be at a port. I'm in DC at Coast Guard headquarters all the time, so it's a very different environment down here. The weather's definitely better, so happy to be here. I guess about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years now, Coast Guard really started focusing on the fact that there was a need to really blend the cyber professional expertise with maritime safety, maritime security expertise. And so that's really where the Maritime Cyber Readiness Branch at Coast Guard Cyber Command was really born out of. I think Jamie mentioned in the last panel the need for translation, and just having started out my career in port security, spending a lot of time at ports and understanding how ports work. We've started a team that really brings that expertise as well as cyber expertise housed under Coast Guard Cyber Command. So kind of going down the line, we have we have policy and man, train, equip for CG Cyber, and then we have my team that kind of provides these translation services. We're more technical than our policy folks, and then down the line we have our actual cyber operators. So what we do is my team I have marine science technicians who have spent most of their career at port areas doing facility inspections, vessel inspections, and examining facilities and vessel security plans. And we've trained them up in all things cyber. They're very highly trained and have some of the highest training levels in the Coast Guard on the operational technology side of the house. So they really are able to go out to port areas and speak their language, but explain the need for cyber protection at their level. And so my team really deals with so we do that outreach to with our maritime partners as well as our Coast Guard inspectors at Coast Guard sectors and marine safety units. We do training for them, and what to look for when they're doing facility inspections. Also information sharing, and we are kind of the front door when a cyber incident, a maritime specific cyber incident comes, we're kind of that front door. We start the investigative process because we understand the right questions to ask facility owners and operators to try to get the right, to equip our cyber protection teams with the right tools should they need to be deployed. So it's kind of a blend of two things that I'm very passionate about, which is the marine transportation system and cyber, and I'm really happy to serve in this capacity. So.
All right. So once we have determined, once it goes through the process from the Maritime Cyber Readiness Branch, a request for technical assistance does come down to my team, whether it be for a vulnerability assessment or a hunt and incident response, depending on the type of situation that the port or port partner is experiencing. We have stretched this out to any entity that has an MTS nexus. So we also help state, local governments. We help public and private MTS partners. The main thing that we are trying to focus ourselves on is to remove ourselves from the regulatory side of the Coast Guard and essentially shore up any weaknesses in cybersecurity in the NTS before they become a problem. Our report culminates in, or our assessment culminates in a report. The entities who have used our services to date have been pretty substantially, gotten some pretty substantial FEMA grants based off of our reports. I can't go into who or what we have actually assessed, but it has been police departments, bridge authorities. We have done private tour cruise companies, a number of different state and local entities throughout the entire United States. We've also been requested to provide technical assistance and oversight to countries abroad. So we assisted the Panamanian government and the Colombian government for the Panama Canal, and assisted the Colombian government with some of their technical issues. And we also collaborated with the country of Israel for their first maritime cybersecurity expo.
Real quick, that being said, and one of the biggest reasons why we're here, we've been working since, or I guess our mission teams have been on mission since 2020, the fall of 2020, and they've gone on many different missions as she referred to, but we haven't had a single port partner within Florida request services. So we're here to get the word out. We're here to make sure that you guys know how to get a hold of us. And we have a few different brochures up here that actually show what the cyber protection teams can do and how we can assist.
And so that begs the question. I asked earlier Agent Phillips, if I'm a small local manufacturer, I don't have any direct business in shipping, who's the first call to make? And Agent Phillips said, well, you call us, we'll get you plugged into the FBI. Who is it that should reach out to you ahead of time at the Coast Guard? What types of customers? So obviously we're thinking shipping companies.
So it really depends on whether or not they're a MTS regulated facility. If they have an MTS regulated facility, they would reach out to the National Command Center through their local sector's port security specialists.
Okay. And what types of companies would that be in general, just to give us some?
Oh, I mean, it's a large range of facilities that fall under the Marine Transportation Security Act. So it's anything from your larger bulk liquid facilities, passenger carriers that over a certain amount of passengers. You've got your break bulk facilities. You've got your ro-ro vessels. And then, so even some of your public access facilities and things like that. So it's a pretty wide range of facilities that fall under the Maritime Transportation Security Act regulations. And there are a lot of them throughout the state of Florida. And so part of the outreach that my team is doing is we're starting to do training workshops at all of our sectors and our districts, where we're again training our facility inspectors and vessel inspectors on what to look for when they go and do these inspections that they're required to do. a couple times a year at all of the regulated facilities. But also while they're out at those facilities, we're starting to incorporate just kind of letting them know that when they're out at these facilities to show what our cyber protection teams are capable of, and especially for some of the smaller facilities that maybe don't have a robust cyber program quite yet. It would be a good opportunity for them to get a baseline that's completely free of charge to them, and kind of get that kickstart to see what their cyber vulnerabilities are, and then build from there.
And one of the things my organization, which is a 100-year-old business advocacy organization in Florida, and we have most of the Fortune 100 and 500 companies that are really active in Florida. One of the balances we always have to deal with advising policymakers at the state level is companies' self-reporting problems. I mean, we had the Christmas retail cyber theft a few years ago. We've had attacks on the biggest healthcare systems databases, and one of the things that businesses want to know is that if they self-report a hack, that maybe not be threatening their entire business model, but I don't really want to invite law enforcement or the Coast Guard to come in and go through my records. And I, in my private life, I was general counsel to corporations. And I remember one of our previous state attorney generals had a robust program to help fight human trafficking. And the attorney general's goal was to have her team go into all private companies and go through their files and database and figure out where their vulnerabilities were. And I explained to the Attorney General that as a general counsel to a business, I would never invite the FBI or the CIA or the Attorney General's office, that I would never allow that as general counsel, no matter how well the motivation was. So what is it when folks reach out to you that they can take some protection?
Great question. I'll let you.
Okay, so I'll take that one. So we actually allow the company to define the scope of the network they want us to touch. So if they only want us to touch a small portion of their payment system for the company cruises or whatever it is that they're doing, we'll come in and we'll just do an assessment of that portion of the network. If they don't want us in their administrative or their financial or anything like that, they can blacklist all of that. It would be no different than having a civilian company come in to do a pen test where you get to authorize what portion of the network that they are bound in between. Also, we do not share any information about the entity or what we find publicly. We don't name the entity. We will give the sector an overall report card of the cyber stance of their AOR, but we don't name the port partner and we don't advertise the vulnerabilities, and we also don't save that information.
Yeah, and that's another part of where my team comes in, because we speak maritime professional as well. We really emphasize the fact that this service that the cyber protection team offers is non-regulatory in nature. Cyber protection team there's all sorts of non-disclosure things and everything that are signed as a part of the process. So it really is a case of we're the government, we're here to help. We really do, because on the Coast Guard really, I think more than any regulatory agency, we're also partners. We also understand that, and one of our missions is to keep the flow of commerce going. So we understand more than anybody that that we respect your proprietary information, and we have procedures in place to protect that and from disclosure, while at the same time letting that business know what their vulnerabilities are and how they can recommendations to better protect themselves.
And I can attest to that. The first mission that we actually went on, we found personal financial data on somebody's desktop on an unsecured Excel spreadsheet that was open and access to anyone on the network. So that didn't even actually go in our report. I just walked into his office and said, hey, let me help you find this file so we can delete it. So it's really something that, we just want to make sure that it's not going to harm the company or anyone's personal finances.
As the sector risk management agency that was designated by DHS, like, it's in our best interest to be a port partner and rather than a port regulator when it comes to cybersecurity. So, and that's really the stance that we've taken, and that's how we're growing the cyber protection teams. Right now we have one cyber protection team that has 3 mission elements within that. Each mission element can go on separate missions. They're each their own deployable group. Our second cyber protection team is coming fully operationally capable next summer, and next summer we're beginning to build our third cyber protection team. So our capacity right now is growing, and it may get bigger as we move into the future. But that's what we have so far, and so we will have more capacity as time goes on here.
Well, I'm going to see if we have some questions from the audience. Yes, sir, back in the red.
So we actually, I have participated in many AMSC meetings, mostly virtually because of COVID. We do have a presentation that we give out. We are looking to expand into the Gulf Coast region. Most of our AMSC meetings have been up in the D1, D5, or the northern, New York, Washington, D.C., Columbia River areas, and then a little bit out west. So we really haven't had much interaction from the Florida, Alabama, Texas, Gulf Coast area. So definitely like to get in touch with you.
Yeah, and that's I would say it's partially our fault, but we're remedying that because the outreach wasn't there before necessarily, and we didn't necessarily have the personnel and the capacity at that point to push out. But right now, so my office and you guys are actually the first folks that we're deploying to actually get the word out and make sure that everybody is aware of what we do. This is the very first time that we've come out and done one of these from the program level. The cyber protection teams have had small outreach efforts and that type of thing as they've built their mission out and that type of thing. But we're really pushing forward. We have an entire schedule for basically the nation at this point to go out to all the port partners throughout our cabinet port zones across the entire shoreline of the United States. So that's starting now, and we are going up to Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Detroit in November, and so on and so forth throughout the next 12 months or so.
Well, and so that, yeah. Sure. So just to kind of jump on that, I'm actually going out to Sector St. Pete on Wednesday, and I'm going to be training their facility vessel security officers on Wednesday. My plan is within the next 12 months, somebody from my team will hit every captain of the port zone in the U.S. So we're going to provide this training to them. The program office has their own workshops that they're going out and just doing that outreach. So between the training that we're providing for our field inspectors and the outreach that our program office is doing, we're trying to just we have a whole campaign to really get the word out really aggressively within the next 12 months. My team's pretty small, but I think we should be able to hit all the captain of the port zones. But I'll be on Wednesday at Sector St. Pete. So I try to combine trips like this, when we go to a conference or we have some sort of speaking engagement, I'll hit up the local Captain of the Port Zone, and they've all been very receptive for the same reasons that you're talking about.
Well, and I assume, one of our great members is the Florida Ports Association, and we've got a number of the major individual ports, and so I assume that you're reaching out to them and talking about the opportunities that they...
Yeah, definitely, and again, that's where my staff really comes in, and we really offer value to both on the program side, who's starting to write policy and things like that, and the technical folks. We're really that bridge because my team has over 30 years of combined experience in the MTS, and so over our years of being at different Coast Guard sectors and different Coast Guard units, we've established those relationships with different port authorities and different organizations like that. So now, part of our outreach is to reach out to some of those organizations, because we've also found that they're also very receptive to our outreach and training opportunities and things like that. So.
Well, great, and it's really, our ports are just so critical to Florida more than most states, Jason's going to be in Cleveland and Milwaukee in November and December doing educating, but somebody else is welcome to come down to Florida in November and December. There'll be plenty of training to do down here.
February for that.
Yeah. February. Okay.
You're on the schedule for February.
Do we have one more question before? Yeah. How about we take two more? Yes.
That is a great question. You can send an email to maritimecyber@uscg.mil. It's again maritimecyber@uscg, like US Coast Guard.mil. MIL.
Do we have it on one of the slides by chance?
We have it on the final question slide. If you could cycle the slides through the questions, it's on there. I also have all these handouts. If anybody is interested, it's the address is at the bottom of these as well.
Yeah. So in this handout is the different service. Sorry, if you could go back one. Okay. Up. Yeah. All right. The handouts that we have are the different services that the Coast Guard CPTs can provide. We do separate them between vulnerability assessments and hunt and incident response, depending on whether or not the port suffered a cyber incident or thought they did. The teams are, and the timelines for those differ based on what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's an important point. So the CPT has services like Jamie was mentioning. We left of boom and right of boom. We also have we have left of boom services and also right of boom services. So
we're trying to get that to left of click, right of click.
We need to use port and starboard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let's do two more here, and then we're going to relax in a little bit. Yes, sir.
So we primarily focus on NIST and the MITRE attack framework. We follow CISA's model. Most of my pen testers are actually previously trained by CISA. We have a partnership with CISA in Washington, D.C. We send some Coast Guard members over there. They work for CISA threat hunting and or vulnerability assessments for a couple of years, come back to us, provide the knowledge. So we are interchangeable with CISA as well. So we provide surge support for CISA and ensure that all of our members are cross-trained.
Everybody is trained to DoD and DHS standards as far as cyber entities go.
Yeah, and to that point, in a second, before we relax and get to know each other a little bit better, we're going to be promoting tomorrow's event, which is on how Florida contractors, particularly small and mid-sized guys and gals, come up to the CMMC Defense Department requirements that are still a work in progress at the CMMC level, but we are busy making smaller defense contractors aware of what's coming and then hopefully helping them comply with those CMMC standards.